this and see the green screen, we're going to get started in a minute, a couple of minutes early. Okay, Chantal, let me know when the stream is started. Okay, thanks. Okay. Yes, Chantal is signed in as a member. Okay, I see. You do that when you're streaming because you sign in on a different computer. Is that why that happens, Chantal? See how smart I am? Okay, 25 seconds and we'll start. I've been up since 6 this morning, Eastern time, looking at CPI, testing, double checking, triple checking, quadruple witching hour checking. There's no screen yet. I didn't start yet. All right, I'm starting now. Now, if you can't see the green screen, you should reboot, maybe try a different browser because everybody can see it. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to CPI, 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the Trading Director at 10-Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. It's possible to lose money trading futures. And we are going to get started right now. So I am, a couple of heads up, not trading the gold open when there's large news or important news. I don't trade the gold open, not even going to look at it probably this morning because I'm just going to concentrate on CPI. It's an important report. Obviously, the market is looking at it. I do want to welcome all of the people that are watching us on YouTube. And you can get into the room. You can come into the trade room if you check your email. So we have a specific setup that we use for CPI. Years ago, CPI and US retail, just a little bit of history, used to trade together. And it was a great report. It was what we used to call a prime trade, sort of like a family money trade in this day and age. And then the powers that decide these issues, for whatever reason, they split the reports apart. And now retail and CPI US trade by themselves. And for quite a while, we looked for a setup that would work. We were on gold as a breakout trade, and it was became very challenged. It just wasn't working well. And over time, we went over to the NQ on CPI, and that's where we are today. But I'm also looking at the ES. So here's the thing. There's no denying that today is going to be, the market's really, everybody and their brother is looking at the results of this report. All the news, all the talking heads, and I'm sure the president is watching, the White House, everybody's watching this news report. It's important. So there's most probably going to be a significant move in many different indexes. The ES, the NQ, gold, probably bonds. I'll bet you the euro. You name an index, RTY, it's probably going to move on this report. So, you might have a different index than the NQ that you like to trade. But our setup, we have NQ setups right now and ES setups. And my gut feeling is, because so many people are watching this report, because we're also dealing with rollover, we have mixed volume on the indexes, and mixed volume tends to make liquidity very, very important. So the liquidity is less on the NQ as it is on the ES today. And if you look at the liquidity by just, looking at a dome, and also you could just look at daily volume, there's significant volume on the new contract. I mean, in theory, ES 922 is today's contract. But the issue is the volume is higher on 622. But they're pretty darn close. They're closer than I thought they would be. So I have this little daily volume part of NinjaTrader chart that I use. So the ES 922, ES 622, it's only a $30,000, 30,000, roughly 30,000 contract difference. And either volume is tradable, but honestly, if I would prefer that the volume mostly be on one contract, because that's a lot of contracts now that have, we call it mixed volume. And it's just what it says. The volume is on multiple contracts. You can trade either contract. There's enough volume. And if you look at the NQ is a little bit more significant. So I would not trade the 9 contract. On the ES, I'd still probably stay with 6 until the volume, until Monday probably. But I would just be aware that it's something to be aware of. If, we have a range trade setup and a potential breakout setup on the ES. Again, because we're dealing with mixed volume, I lean towards ranges. Range trades, they're going to be putting orders on the chart after the initial move is over. So liquidity, the point of a range trade is we try to put the orders on the chart when the volume starts coming in. Okay, until it starts coming in. So, Mark, you make a good point, but the reality is really simple. For rollover, I just try to trade the contract with the most volume. That's always been the way that we dealt with it. If there's a contract that has really poor volume, even if rollover officially took place, I would still trade the contract with the better volume. But, they're always changing the rules, and, you got to just be aware of what's going on. Now, if there's stubborn people out there and you must trade the ES breakout and you're using our software, use a bracket of 11, not 8. Increase your bracket, and that might mean you might want to increase your stop a couple of ticks also. But in my testing, a bracket of 11 is definitely better on the ES. Now I have news open to the side, all right? And I'm also listening to Financial Juice in my headset. Financial Juice is a website that we use, and if you stay in the trade room all morning, we use other tools from them. We're not partial we'll use any tool that helps us to trade. And if there's a good tool out there, even if it's not free, we think you should know about it and use it as well if you can afford it, or if you feel it's useful for you. You know, it's no different than using a squeeze indicator or moving averages. So our range trade on the NQ, which tests very well and has been trading well, is what I'm going with this morning. And I'm going to trade. So here's our setup. It's 10 ticks above the range, 10 ticks below the range. 10 ticks above, 10 ticks below. Our range starts at 8:29.59. That's the range start time. $8:29.59. And I'm looking for targets of, I'm thinking a little bit. Targets are always interesting. So I think I'm going to go with 17, 29, and 75. My stop is 65. And then the range, if it hits my second target, I'm going to move my stop to break even using the target 2 stop move. And the end of the range activation or entry time is going to be 8:30.06. 8:30. Let's get that right. 8:30.06. Make sure that if you're trading a range trade, you call it a range trade. I'm labeling the trade. Dutchy, did they goof up the time on the DMM? Obviously, anybody who's here, anyone who reads it, yeah, they got it backwards. Yep, it should be not 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Calvin, there should have been. Unless I didn't send it, I'm sure I sent it yesterday. I'm not going to check now, but I didn't get any emails, Calvin, that it wasn't sent. Usually I would get many. Check your spam folder. Check spam. Let me know if it's there. Anybody, did you get an email on the range trade on the DMM for today? I know I sent it, Calvin. I got the email. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did get an email. I'm on the email list. That is one of my responsibilities. So my first target, don't match my targets, okay? Choose somewhat close to my targets. Don't use the exact same targets. I'm going to go 1734 and 75. Okay, so DMM's worst sent. Calvin, every now and then things go wrong. Make sure that you have whitelisted our email address. Hey, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, why don't you hit that like button for us? That'd be really nice. If you like, also subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel as well. So, range trade on the NQ, 10 ticks above the range, 10 ticks below. Graphics shown on chart. Range start time 8:29:59. Put your targets in. My stop is 65. And then my range ends at 8:30:06, and it's a range trade. That's my NQ trade. I'm also moving my stop to break even if my second target gets hit. And I'm only trading one instrument this morning. One instrument. That's our main trade. That's been our solid trade. If it were not, I will say this, the ES testing is excellent. If you like trading the ES, the testing's great. The ES range setup is fine. Okay. I like it very much. The ES bracket, I think, is a great setup. I'm a little bit concerned over mixed volume today, as I said, but I would, if you insist on trading it, use an 11 tick bracket. And that's going to be true going forward with or without mixed volume. It's just a better setup all along. I'm going to watch the ES. I'm also going to watch the news. And I'm not really interested in trading Canada's jobs report today. Our testing on Canada's jobs report is really showing. I know people have made some money trading that report, but the Canada jobs report has been really difficult to trade and make good money on it. And the testing is really showing that it's more and more difficult. Also, when it trades by itself, like it's trading today, when it doesn't trade with US news, it's a much more difficult trade. Taking a look at the gold open, just because it's something we like to do. I'm also checking my time sync by going to the website time.is, and I need to use dimension 4 to put myself in sync. Now, I'm not going to get in heavily into tools and things like that this morning until we have some extra time. So when you have to use dimension 4, which is an extra special way to get in sync, sometimes you might have to do it twice, like I'm doing now. Usually I don't have any problem getting my computer in sync. So I'll keep trying and keep trying. See, I'm not seeing, what's interesting is I'm not seeing my server working. So I'm going to change my server. And see if that helps. And actually, because sync is so important. And finally, I did notice that my sync changed. So now I'll go back to time.is, and I'll get into this later because I realize now I'm in sync. I'll explain what I did. If someone reminds me to talk about sync later, I will. So I've got 3 minutes. I'm going to load a quick gold open template because we have a few minutes. We can look at the gold open as if we were going to do it. Generally, when there's news before the open, important news, generally on those days, it's better to just pass on the gold open. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pass on it. I'm just going to watch it. I'm just looking for 16 ticks with a 22 tick target. And if the market moves 8 ticks in my direction, let me turn on my recorder. So I'm recording everything. And we use the tick strike indicator to help us with our opening trades. So I'll throw the indicator on gold. Now I'm in sim on the gold open. The gold open takes place at 8:20. Okay. I'm always just curious to see if things work. Okay. Chantal, the entry time for the ES is 8:30. You did the oh, you didn't do the testing on CPI. 8:30 entry. Um, okay, here's the gold open. I don't take that early signal, and it's also a little bit small. I don't want a 7 either. I want a little bit bigger, especially if there's news today. So I would not trade this gold open in real life, obviously, as I said. I'm just looking and having fun with it. I mean, this is my idea of having fun. All right. I need a new life. If this is my idea of having fun, I really need to get an electric bike or something. So normally what I anticipate when there's news like CPI or jobs report or, seriously big news, I usually expect the gold open to be muted. Okay. I don't enter on a 6 or a 7 value. And in fact, I'm just going to watch it now. I'm just going to watch it. Let's just watch it. All right. Because I just want to concentrate on CPI. I just want to be ready. I just want to be relaxed. Normally, if I don't get good signals pretty soon after the opening time, I like to get my gold open signals usually within 3 minutes. Same thing with oil. I just like to get the signals early rather than late, although we do find that the signals work fine either way. I'm watching the NQ out of the corner of my eye. And actually, so look, you have to admit this is a little bit muted on the gold open. We almost, not, I'd say almost always would have had signals by now, greater than 6 or greater. That's what I'm looking at for signals. So if anybody wants to trade the gold open, you can let me know what happens. It's at the low, not allowed to take a short signal, okay? No short signals allowed. It's at the low. It's a perfect morning to wait on the gold open, all right? That's what I would do. I would wait on the gold open. It's at the low. We have certain rules. If you're at the high or right at the low, it should be passed, okay? So this morning, the gold open is a pass for me. Watching the ES. I'm just not setting up lots of extra things this morning. David, the CPI setup, I'm just going to speak it, is the time of the range is 8:29:59, range start time, and then the activation time is 8:29:06, 8:30:06, sorry, 8:30:06. Activation entry time 8:30:06. Targets, choose targets between 17 and 75. 10 ticks above the range, 10 ticks below the range. Don't forget to show your graphics on this chart, okay, so that you see the range get created. I'm using targets between 17 ticks and 75. It's a range trade. I've got a big stop, 65 ticks. And if we hit my second target, I'm going to move my stop to break even. Okay. Now, so the ES is similar in terms of your start time, 8:29:59 on the ES range. The end time is the same, 8:30:06. Okay. Now, some people probably want to trade gold. So today you've got that situation where what we're seeing, what I see in reports that are so important, you know, that the market's really looking at it, they tend to whip. They tend to whip. So gold worked last month. David, because I'm using a newer version of the software. You're okay. You're okay. The new version is going to fix that. It'll activate and show the logo. Something happened about 3 months ago. The logo got blown off a website. And very honestly, I thought the software update would be much sooner. And we decided to just make it a much larger update. So now the software is coming very soon. I should have a first version, I hope, tomorrow morning. But I'm using a different version. So what I was saying about gold and breakouts, the breakout, look, we could still have a trade that doesn't work, but a range trade, when you have a report, this report's going to have a big move. And it may be that the breakout is perfect. It could be. I mean, there's, you know, you can never say what's going to work and what isn't. But we've been trading the ranges for months. It's not like we're just doing it for the first time. Okay. We've been trading ranges, all sorts of new range trades for months. And software guys always say coming real soon, Calvin. Believe me, I know. I know. But when I say coming real soon, you got a magnet trade taking place on the NQ. Magnet trade is being pulled into the high. NQ is bullish. All of a sudden, the markets got bullish a little bit before the report. Yesterday was pretty negative day. So don't forget, I'm watching the news off to the side. I think everyone's expecting inflation to be high, prices to be up. Chantal, my targets on that ES breakout were in the range of 10, 17, and 29. And 29 is small on the outer target. Ten ticks above the range, 10 ticks below. 829.59 is the start of my range. End of my range is 830.06. Everything looks normal. Now we're going to stay in the room for the oil open, University of Michigan, and then we'll be coming back for WASD. Pretty excited about WASD. Make sure you make the WASD trade room if you can, especially members. I know that WASD has been a troubled report. I do believe we have a solution. I do believe we have a solution for WASD. It's got some challenges, but what doesn't? All right, we got about a minute to go. So remember, we're going to see the original move on CPI. It'll probably be pretty big. It'll probably be pretty big. And then our orders will show up 6 seconds after the news. Look at the ES. You see why a breakout is hard on these reports when there's so much attention on them? So our range will start to draw 1 second before the news comes out. Right about now. There's my range. It's pretty big. Bingo, I'll take $840, wouldn't you? I'll take $840. This market owes me that trade, my friends. This market owes me that trade. The ES looked like a doozy also. $840. I don't mind that one bit. I don't mind that one bit. I'm going to stand up because I think I had a heart attack right before this trade. I think I have to call 911. And I have a glue trap in my office, and I accidentally sat on it. So I have a glue trap glued to my butt right now. So look, what does TMI mean? Calvin, let's watch the news. So what happened? I mean, everybody was expecting bad news. Everyone was expecting bad news. Did anybody trade Canada? We're going to look at Canada in a second. I only traded 3 contracts, but I made good money because I had a big third target. The only reason I didn't want to trade the ES at the same time as the NQ is I really felt that we would have a very strong opportunity to have a good NASDAQ trade. And I didn't want to ruin my NASDAQ trade if my ES trade didn't work. So yes, I could have made maybe almost double the money, but I could have had a flat trade instead of an $800 trade. So I just wanted to focus on the one report that's been working steadily ever since we started doing range trades when the breakouts weren't working, okay? Or when the breakouts became too risky. So look at the news. Now, year over year, of course, inflation is up. And you know what? This is not a horrifying report. This is nowhere near as horrifying as the response in the market, in my opinion. Yes, it's up 0.6% instead of 0.5. That's not big. It's really up 0.1%. Everybody gets carried away because they're thinking inflation just won't stop. Eventually, it's going to stop, okay? Hopefully, eventually the war is going to end. Once that war ends, you'll see the price of oil really, really go down, 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 down. Oh, Chantal, that's what I was worried about with breakouts. Breakouts. Wait, MNQ error. So did you do the breakout or did you do a range on the MNQ, Chantal? So I'm very surprised on a range that you got an error, but are you dealing with liquidity? I think it's liquidity today is the what was my worry. I don't like trading with mixed volume. I hate mixed volume. So let's look at some other indexes. I'm removing my trade. First thing I want to do is take a picture of this screen. As Don Henley would say, take a picture of this. Anybody ever hear that song? Take a picture of this. Great Don Henley song if you never heard it. Highly recommend it. I love Don Henley. Did anybody trade the ES as a breakout using an 11 tick bracket? Anybody trade the breakout? Give me a roll call. Did anybody besides Chantal trade? Did anybody? Now, I don't expect new people that were invited here to trade. I know that the new people here were just watching, and that's fine. Did anybody trade? Members. David, you made 750 real dollars? David? Simone, you traded in Simone, you've been here before, haven't you? Or maybe we had another Simone. Langford, you got an error on MNQ. I'm thinking that there were liquidity errors on the MNQ. That's what I'm thinking because people are reporting that they've had some errors on the MNQ. Okay, no, I know, Simone, you came from the webinar. I think we had another Simone, very honestly. So it's an unusual name, a beautiful, nice name, too. Not as nice as Lee, L-E-I-G-H, but it's up there. Darren, NQ685. Very nice, Darren. Did you use the range trade on the ES? Chantal used a bracket of 12 on MES. Okay. Gray Rock 150 manually, too slow to set your position. Gray Rock, Gray, for heaven's sake, will you let me help you get your software going? Let me get your software going. Send me an email and let's get it going. I'm happy to do it. If you're officially a lifetime user, I'll help you. I'm happy to help you. Now, everybody on YouTube, would you be kind enough, please? I want more likes. I'd like a few more likes, just a couple. Okay, so NQ for me, excellent trade. Excellent trade. So look, a lot of new people here. All the new people that I invited here from the webinar, why would you not want to click on this link and at a minimum, just get the special on our DMMs. The DMM told you how to trade this report on the NQ. Okay? It gave you ideas on how to make money on this report. Most people probably tried to trade at the exact moment of the news. And everybody can say a thank you to Chantal for coming up with these range trades. Chantal works for us and does a lot of testing. And then, Simone, that was a very nice trade to make $465. Sim or not, it's still a trade, and it helps you to learn how to do this. Let's look at gold. So the ES, people say are reporting really that there were some ES issues. So, this morning, just because we're here, I'm going to download the ES data because maybe we'll have some time to look at the ES trades. I'll download the MES also. So maybe we'll be able to do a replay in a little while. So I'm looking at the ES 622. And I definitely feel very strongly that one of the problems is absolutely mixed volume. I think without that mixed volume, there would have been a much greater probability of better fills on MES and on regular ES as well. Mixed volume is just, you know how I feel about it. It creates all sorts of issues. So I want the MES instrument so I can download the data. And then let's look at gold also, because I'm sure that gold was probably tradable. I'm going to download today's gold also, because maybe we can look at that later. So we used to trade gold on this report all the time. Now look at what an incredible reversal. So let's look at the trade candle. A couple of things I want to do. So I need a crosshair. So the trade candle on gold. So there was a possibility with gold that you could have been filled. You could have been filled long. Okay, it's possible because just looking at the candle, I would want to do a real test to look at gold to see what the trade was like. It certainly had a fantastic move down. A range trade on gold looks like it would be a very possible winner. Okay. Again, remember the key to our setups working today. When they worked, and I realize not everybody had a winning setup, and when you have these kind of very volatile reports, sometimes one person could have a winning trade, another person could have a challenged trade, because you have so much volatility. Everybody's orders don't get placed at the exact same price on the charts. So one person could actually have a winning trade, another person could have a losing trade. You absolutely have a magnet trade taking place on gold. A magnet trade is something that we're going to have implemented in our new software, which is coming out in July. I should have the new version in my hands in a day or two, no joke. A magnet trade, look at this magnet. You've got three important levels, three of the only levels I even look at. PP pivot, open of gold, not the open, but when I start looking at gold, 6 p.m. in the evening, Eastern time, and the high of the day. Those are pulling gold up. Gold got bullish eventually after the report, and this magnet trade setup right now is pulling gold to the high of the day. It's probably going to burst through it. Okay, it's probably going to burst through it for all you discretionary traders out there. Now, for us, I'm not jumping into 80 trades right now. Okay, I could take the rest of the day off and I would not be unhappy making $840. I'm okay with that. So not a lot of folks traded real money, all right? And we do have a fair amount of members here. David, your money was real, right? Fred, okay, Fred made money. I'm just going back over the roll call to see how everyone did. So I'm looking, Fred made some money. Chantal had some order issues, unfortunately. Okay, good. Chantal, you managed your way out of your order problems and wound up making money. Very good. Chantal, you're becoming the queen of discretionary traders. In fact, that's your new nickname. QODT, queen of discretionary traders. Who's the king? This week, this month, we're going to make Mark the king of discretionary traders, just for all his help with all the discretionary trading that we do now. So Chantal and Mark, the queen and king, all I can say is congratulations. And I'm teasing, but I'm serious. That's the truth. So gold had a phenomenal move on CPI. I'm sure that what other indexes, if you like to trade the RTY, which I don't, they ruined the RTY. You know, it used to be the Russell. What was it? Was it IWM? I don't even remember the old symbol. What was the old symbol on RTY? The old Russell symbol. Look at the move. Maybe I'm starting to like RTY because it had a phenomenal move. Looks like no whipsaw, possibly. Maybe no whipsaw. So RTY, absolutely a tradable move. No question about that. I would think a range trade would have worked on almost everything today. That's what the markets look like. We didn't look at Canada. Did anyone trade the Canada jobs report? Anyone trade the Canada jobs report? Is Canada on 9 or on 6? Is Canada on 9 or on 6 today? Let's take a look. So what's the volume on Canada? What's the volume on Canada? I'm curious. So Canada 922, that's decent volume. I'm thinking Canada's on 9. Yes, so Canada has moved to 9. It's interesting, it's pre-rollover, so it says, but Canada's already moved to the front contract. That's interesting. Looks like Canada had a beautiful move on their jobs report, okay? A very good-looking move on the Canadian jobs report. Absolutely a tradable report, a tradable event, but the issue with Canada has been the whippiness of the response to the reports, to the news, especially when it trades by itself like it traded today. It did not have that kind of a response, okay? It had a more normal response. That's very funny, Mark. How can you be a king when you're slave to the market? That's hilarious. Mark, how'd you get so darn smart? Okay? You're really smart, and I hate that because I'm not as smart as you. And it really is very difficult competing with you. That's really clever. All right, so I guess we should go. Oh, University of Michigan. Yeah, I went to music school, so that's it. That explains it. I went to music school. A lot of good that did me. Actually, no regrets. All right, let's go over to the gold open. And I'm going to do my one contract. Remember what I said this week? I was testing a one contract setup on the full size contract. So today's my last day. Today's my last day of testing. All right. Next week, we're going live on full size contracts on oil and the gold opens. So it's a great reason for everybody to join our trade room who isn't a member. And if you sign up for our DMMs, there's an awesome deal to join the trade room also. So that link, www.getdmmnow.com. Okay. It's a real fair deal. Francis made $700 on the MNQ, 220 on MES. Now, folks, if you made money live, would you be kind enough to send me a screenshot of your profits, please? I'll remove your account numbers from the screenshots, but I need them to prove to people that think we're a scam that we're not scamming people. You almost lost control of the computer trailing. I mean, Francis, sometimes when you get those crazy fast moves like that, it happens. It happens. The technology sometimes struggles with keeping up. It's not unusual, right? I mean, nobody ever said there's no risk to trading events. Very fast moving markets can cause can be chaotic to trade. Trailing can be difficult to get out of. Stops sometimes can be hard to move. Excuse me. Stops sometimes can be hard to move. We know all these things that take place that make it sometimes tricky. But we love doing this and we still do it. We love doing this and still do it. So Chantal, your long position on MES put you in over the 830 price. It really is strange why that happens. I mean, I could explain to you why that happens. I mean, I know why it happens. I know why it happens. It's because when things go too fast, it's hard for any software to execute unless we were brokers that are tied in directly to the exchange with a direct link. Sometimes retail traders just don't get their orders filled fast enough. But it is sometimes something that happens. We see it. We see it. So look, we're here. One of the other setups we have now is to trade the oil open. We use the tick strike indicator to help us trade the oil open. So I'll explain the technique that we're going to use. The tick strike indicator is not free, unfortunately. But, when something is good, you got to pay, right? And that's okay too. I'm going to put a link in if you're interested in the tick strike indicator. You can get it at this link. And for full transparency, we are I don't push it, but we are an affiliate. So we make a few bucks if you buy it through us, or my company does. But I can't live without the indicator at the moment. And here's something interesting to think about. If you become a trade room member, you can watch us use the indicator. You don't have to buy it. If you want to trade with us, you could watch me. Now, keep in mind there's a minuscule delay if you're in the trade room. If you watch us on the internet, there's a much larger delay. So Chantal, I think I have to close YouTube. I want to thank everybody on YouTube for watching us. If you hit the like button on your way out, if you hadn't hit it, we're going to shut our stream down now. It was a CPI stream this morning. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you would sign up for our DMM reports, www.getdmmnow, we would be very, very appreciative. So thanks everyone for watching us on YouTube, and we'll see you next week with our stream of the week.